Hello everyone, my name's Yuta Jazz, and today we are going to do a video, pick a pile, and this reading is going to be about which is your main collective, which is kind of an odd topic as I realized as I started actually going into it. So you could have many main collectives. You could have a main collective that's your, I don't know, like root collective from which you were born as a soul, right? That is your main collective, or you feel like your main. But it could also be a collective you resonate the most this lifetime. It could be a collective you're the most tuned into and tapped into, but you maybe weren't born from it. Maybe you had a lot of lives in it. Maybe you're one of those people that kind of feels connected to a bunch of stuff and you don't really have like a certain thing. You're not into aliens, you're not into specific like collectives of aliens, you're not into angels. I don't know, you don't even really feel like you're too tapped in or connected to the humanity aspect of it, right? So yeah, I don't know where this is gonna go. I feel like it's going to be very interesting because we actually have five piles again. They were very much pushing me on it, and I guess we'll see what comes up. So, a bit of a disclaimer, if I actually know the name of the collective, I will mention it. If I don't know the name of the collective, I can't mention it, even if I feel their energy. That's just a thing I know. There's limits to my channeling or the information that I can relay. Sometimes, like, things that I don't know about do come across, but a lot of the time, it has to be something that I have heard or have a word for or can like bundle up out of all of the words. Maybe, I can use it from one of the languages I know. So in this case, if it's going to be something personal to you that I don't name or I can't describe by name, don't worry about it. Go by your intuition, go by whatever you're realizing or whatever, right? Could be that I'm picking up on one name collective over there in that pile and another name collective over there, but to you personally, they're the same collective. Go by your intuition. This is going to be very kind of multidimensional and personal to a lot of people as this is a general reading. So don't get discouraged by what comes across. Take what resonates, leave the rest of it. That being said, we can go. Number 1, 2, 5. Pick whichever one you want, and I'll see you in the piles. Peace. Hello, pile number one. Welcome in. Let's get right into it and check it out. If I do take breaks and it's a weird cut, you'll know that I took a quick little tiny break. But yeah, with that out the window, you have completion, and it's a snaky snake. I mean, not just a snake, but it looks like a snake. And there's a little heart in the middle. Also, like kind of mentioning or talking to the different sides, right? North, south, east, and west, and obviously completion, the world. What I'm getting from this is that you've been around, you have had multiple different collectives, and you don't necessarily. Some of you do have like one that you call home because that's the one you came from or you resonate the most with, but others of you don't really relate or connect to many collectives, or you're kind of like a part of all of them in some weird way. And so you're very multifaceted and varied and colorful and different. You're kind of in the middle of everything, is how I would look at it. You might have a feeling or experience, even if it's not a thing in your actual like family life or other stuff, of being kind of like the middle child, or in the group setting, you're the middle person, you're the middle man, middle woman, you're the diplomat, maybe you're the spokesperson that takes like this role of like speaking on behalf of other people. Maybe you really relate to other people as well in many different ways. You have like a deep understanding and compassion and realization of where they've been, where they're going, where they're at, what it means, how it feels. You've just been around a lot of things, and so you might be actually considered to be like an old soul. Maybe you've heard people say that to you. Maybe you are a person that's just in general regarded to be very wise, beyond your years, wise in general, very different in a like in a weird particular way that's special and unique to you. You might have been called to be like a person from another planet, or you're an angel, or you came from the stars, or something of the point of like you're out of this world in some way, shape, or manner, and you have like a feeling of understanding this place a lot more, but also feeling like you're out of it as well. So that's quite interesting. Um, yeah, like in of it and outside of it, not a part of it whatsoever, not from here. Um, maybe you even have a lot of questions or realizations or feelings of like, why is this place this way? Don't they know that there's better ways of doing this? Like, if you were, maybe you've even, let's say hypothesis wise, like maybe you have a lot of ideas and thoughts on how things could be done better or run better. And maybe you've joked like to yourself or something of like, if I was president over here, like I would do all of this so much freaking different. Like why is this the norm? Like why is everyone holding on to this? So you might have had like a deep understanding, but also this level of confusion or just kind of like a feeling of like, well, or facepalm or whatever. Uh, the thing that I instantly felt with that Eight of Wands reverse is like things have not been easy for you. Things have not been easy for you. Unpredictability, very sporadic energy in your life, or not necessarily sporadic, but just in a way chaotic. Lots of changes, lots of drama at points may be happening. Lots of people trying to put their, I don't know, finger in the batter, um, put their own 2 cents in what's happening around you, or just in general in between of like the groups you've been around. And there might have been actually many in plenty instead of just one or two, or even three. Like you kind of notice that just like stuff just starts unlocking and happening, and it's like people can't sit on the same team or on the same side or get on the same page. It's just like you've had a lot of stuff happen. You've seen a lot of stuff happen. You've seen groups and people and environments and industries just fall apart, go into chaos and disrepair, and you've just been like, if it sucked you in, right? It sucked you in, but if it didn't suck you in, you might have felt like an outsider observing it in a way where it's quite detached and you're just seeing the reality behind everything. And some of it you could have called and did call, but other parts of it you might have been like, what the what is this? Why is this happening? This is not great or cool. Yeah, I'm also getting that you might have been the first one to understand the deeper psychological slash mental or emotional reasons and meanings behind people's motives and what and how they did things. You might be really good at looking into people's souls, into their eyes or motives, or just like what they're made out of. You just might have a thing where you don't even look to it, but you just see it on their face, like it's tattooed on their face, or you just know, a deep knowing might come across you. Yet again, you having to be the person that takes care of things, the mediator, the person people rely on. Wow. I feel like that had to come out. So, being in the position where you're of power and working with that, maybe you're not necessarily a person that goes out of their way to be nice to others or help others out. Maybe you've had like spurts of where you've tried, but ultimately, I see this as like you've always needed to be on top of your game and in a position of power, reverence, regarded as something noble or better than others, or just of more power, stature, ability, wisdom, you know, spiritual acuity, and you've noticed that there hasn't been a lot of time for you to sit in your stuff. There hasn't been a lot of time for you to go through grief or certain different processes. Maybe you've had a period of time where you came up to it, and if you haven't yet, you will come up to this period of time where you can reflect and like sort everything out. But but like there's a lot of time or a lot of like a huge stage of life could have been like your childhood and teenage years could have been up till your 30s, could have been like whatever it is for you, but like it could have been half and half of your life, but it is like a major part of your life was a lot of stuff happening, you being in a position that's sought after or seen as better, even if you weren't, quote unquote, in your eyes. It's like other people saw your acuity of some sort or how you are progressive or something, and maybe how you can take care of business of some sort, and that stuff just kept happening. It kept moving on. You kept seeing like what it's about and where it's going, and you just were making your way through it without needing or having to sit with the complicated like feelings or emotions or your personal thoughts of it. It's kind of like constantly learning and never tapping into what is meant to you, what it meant to you, what it resulted in, what it created in terms of beliefs or thoughts or how you feel about the things you're learning. It's just happening, and eventually you get a diploma, and then afterwards, when you're starting to live your life, I don't know where it just stuff might like what you've been through might just hit you like a truck. And you might need to have a timeout or a peaceful way of living or something like that, like a stagnancy of some sort to move through all of the difficulties and to really like come to the center of like love, peace, abundance, prosperity, and ultimate like power. Because this is like this card of completion does feel like being sorted, being in your center, being in a place where other people find it unreachable, um, being in a place where you're attracting a bunch of things. Being in a place where you can look after yourself and enjoy life and move through things in a way that other people aren't capable in a way you could say, but more like they're not of that energy. They're not of that consciousness. Like it's kind of like maybe the grass looks greener for some people, but also a lot. It's kind of like a lot of people aren't meant to be this in comparison to you. There's something different or unique about how you are or express yourself, and I think some people have thought that it's like maybe easy for you or simpler or better to be you, and it's like no, it's great for me in some ways. I still have my tough times and difficulties and tribulations, but you're only seeing like one side of it, which is the front, the nobility, the perfection, the hey, like this person's so flashy, unique, and other things, but like you've been through your things. You have a unique way of living and a unique way of experiencing life or life happening, but it doesn't mean that it's only just like sunshine and rainbows. A lot of it is tribulation, healing, sitting with certain details, or knowing, looking at certain situations and circumstances and knowing what it's about, having to make different decisions and be very mindful of yourself. You could be connected to angels. You could be a Earth Angel yourself. There is Ascended Master vibes here. Some of you have, I guess, like ascended and come back. Some of you, it's kind of like you're doing it again. So it's not like you came back down without any mission or lessons or growing or development. You did one ascension, two ascension, maybe even three, and then you decided to do a fourth one or whatever, however many you've done. This isn't like the pile where, oh, I've done my stuff, I don't need to go back, and I'm gonna go back and have a great time, because a lot of the time that's how souls like start taking care of it for some reason, and I don't know why. It's different for all of you, so Spirit isn't gonna tell me, but for some reason you have you have decided to keep going with something you're perfecting, unraveling, teaching, or doing, or maybe even incarnating into the planet or the world or collective. There's something special you're doing, and you are quite tired of it by now. But you also understand where you started out and what's happening and what you did, and you understand that like you just need a little bit more patience to get through this because this is your creation and you're the one that's manifested um, this life. And it is like one of those endings in a way where it's like I've come to the culmination of my creation and my lives in a way where I'm gonna finally be fine, but there's just still some more I need to do. There's just some finalizing that you're going through, and you're taking it kinda slow and steady at this point, or you're about to in some ways as well, because that's really coming across. Like you've done a lot, you've been through a lot. Um, and you're really coming out the other end of it because you guys are souls that have been a part of multiple collectives, and so you've learned so many different teachings, lessons. You've seen how civilization has crumbled under different ideas, pretenses, and rulings, and you know where the world needs to go here right now, and your non-judgmental understanding of like this is where humanity and Earth is has led you to play your part in a way that is quite it's quite divine. Not like many people would choose this even in your predicament, but there's something about you where you're inquisitive and curious and determined to do and create. So, yeah. Pleiadians are coming through. I mean, it's just different collectives from the Pleiades in general, but like the more light and supportive beings. A few of you, but not many. I don't know why it's not many, but just a few of you. Like if I had a number for some reason, three is coming across, but it could be more or less of you. Have had a relation to avians, or how are they also called? K something. I can't remember. But the birds, the very high dimensional, multidimensional birds. Um, Venus might be a bit relevant to some of you as well. I don't know necessarily why, but for some reason, Venus and avians are different. I don't know why I needed to specify that, but moving on. Syrians, but you were different if you were Syrians. I feel like you had more of a Pleiades or like a natural feminine energy with you instead of the usual like Syrian stuff that they'd go for. I feel like you might have been out of like outside the box, outside the norm, outside the usual comfort zone, even in that collective and world. A lot of your personal karma, trauma, whatever you're healing or transforming in this life, might have actually come even from the Syrian lifetimes that you've had. They might have been the imprint of a lot of oppression, a lot of criticism, a lot of like dominant and superiority type oriented like I don't know, communication and socialization and community orientation within, their society or civilization. And you've just like it seems like you would have been the one that was drawing the wisdom from it as well because they were so off put by how empathetic and loving and caring and serene and just feminine you were and how you valued like purposes of the heart and soul more so than numbers and productivity and victory and success and progression of goals. Not that Syrians are only that, but with this, it kind of feels like these would be the two energies at the impasse of it. So yeah, let's go to Monster Garden cards. All right, so let's get some cards and less messages. And do you want to say if you feel connected to a collective that I didn't name, but you really I don't know, you feel a certain vibe or a certain type of like characteristic or personality or just emotional thing within you. Maybe it's a value, maybe it's a trust belief type of thing, right? Go by that. Don't worry about like labeling exactly the collective or energy that you feel like you come from or your soul is the most like connected to or considers its main place, right? Main energy. We're all different, we're all unique. Like, yeah, this isn't necessarily like a definite, right? You will find out with time yourself if you don't already know what collective this is talking to or about. So let's go. Interesting. So these cards are talking about basically how you've really learned this one thing that a lot of energies, collectives, and beings don't really. They're learning. Some of them like have learned it. Some of them know that it really well. A lot don't, not to this core or excessive like truth of it, which is logic, goals, and productivity isn't the way to go. Control is unnecessary and unhealthy. There's something that we hold ourselves back from if we go just by the rationality and the coldness of logic and productivity and like what is needed and what has purpose or meaning or achieves goals and results and all that stuff. It's not necessary for us to be such critical beings or people or energies. We can grow beyond it, and that's where like some true strength or power lies, that it's not actually about being strong and cold and calculated or whatever it is, right? Maybe just being in control of things, maybe being the strongest, the leader, or whatever. There's just so many archetypes of like go-getter energy or having use and purpose and meaning and having a grip and control over it that doesn't actually contribute to perfection or the betterment of the soul or energy or just the all of all. And you're an energy or a being that really comprehends that on a deep level. Even if you go between understandings of that in any of your incarnations, you still move beyond it and clear it for other people and collectives because you're so commonly used to it, or you're so commonly and used to the point that this is such a big problem within creation. It doesn't feel like this is just a human Earth issue. It feels like you understand that this is an issue within ET and alien collectives. You understand that this is an issue within higher and lower realms. You understand that this is an issue within many other like energy collectives. Might it be avians, even fairies or elves or gnomes or whatever it is, right? You understand that this is something we need to break apart, break through. This is your glass ceiling, which we imagine is the purpose and the usefulness of where we can put our energy or desires, and it's just like so much is being missed because of it. And at times you do feel like either it's futile or unnecessary or just like wishful thinking to break this core belief or understanding and energy down, but or that you are the one at the forefront doing it to this extent. But there's also a part of you that understands that every time you do it, others will follow. Every time you do it, someone falls in love, some peace and quiet and just happiness, seeps into the universe. Every time you do it, more of your kin or more of the same-minded energies from different collectives get strength to go forward and do it as well in their own way and fashion and truth and light. You understand that by you living this way, you're kinda in a way like in a constant birth cycle or in a constant birth energy, and you've learned to really live with that, with the ebbs and flows of it, and slow down and get grounded within every experience and so present within every single life that you go through that it is such a special experience, honestly, in a lot of ways. And this is just a little idea energy that's coming through at the end of this reading for me, which is some of you have had experiences with substances or have had issues with maybe addictions, but or maybe have like a dependency on. I was feeling weed a lot, but maybe it's like a certain amount of alcohol or levels of alcohol within each week or month, right? Maybe it's having breakdown days or weeks, right, where you are, I don't know, constantly eating a certain type of food or sweets or something. Maybe at a random part of the year you start smoking and then you stop after that like part of the year is done. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's like, something stronger like shrooms or whatever or psychedelics, or ecstasy or whatever. And I feel like some of you have really shamed and doubted and judged yourself for it. Now, don't take what I have to say for, fact or verbatim or whatever. If you know you don't have a problem with it and you're not addicted to it and you don't have risk of health issues or health mistakes or whatever it is with this, right? Don't worry about it too much. Don't judge yourself over it. Don't think you need to be better. Don't do whatever. If you can be like happy, present, healthy with it, if you don't do it all the time, if you can let yourself relax for even just a little bit, right? And I don't know, you know that like smoking is not good for you, but you still enjoy either CBD or I don't know, THC or an occasion you might have a sneaky cigarette you hide from your partner or something, right? Don't hate yourself over it. Understand that you were at the end of the day human. Doesn't matter how intelligent or wise or heartfelt and like wizened you are, at the end of the day, you're a human having a human experience. Um, Even as a spiritual being, right? Like having vices that aren't debilitating is a good thing. For those of you that have a history with it, and maybe you're in your younger years where it's more of an addiction than it is like something you have under control, you will eventually need or have to or feel like you want to cut it down and go the other way of where it's more healthy and wholesome and centered, heart centered, especially for you. That helps you live in a wholesome life. Some of you are going to quit forever. I don't know how or why. Maybe you'll ascend to a certain level where you don't necessarily need it. You're just high on life or something. But I don't know. That just came in at the end of it and related. But thank you so much for being a part of this reading. If you want to share or show some vibes and some stuff down below, feel free to do so. And besides that, there's also a link tree with their social media of mine, where I do live readings on Twitch and gaming, if that interests you. So yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your energy and having this reading, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Hello, pile number two. Well, let's get into it. Let's see what's up. So you have the medicine wheel reversed. Instantly, what I'm getting is you are the person that breaks unhealthy and toxic cycles apart. You're I've heard Jessa Reed say this as like there's I don't know three different groups, and I don't know where she got it from, but she probably fucking got it from somewhere as well, of there being like people that create, and then there's Arsenal, and then there's some other third group I don't even fucking remember about, but this Arsenal one I remember the most for some reason. Um, Maybe because it's one of the best or interesting ones to talk about in some aspect or respect, but that's the group that is here to fight. That's the group that's here to argue and destroy and like eat up the old world basically. Like they're not necessarily just malicious and just destroying people and just like causing harm and bullshit or whatever, but they could be a bit more argumentative, headstrong, opinionated, and to an extent even critical of certain situations. A lot of headbutt energy, a lot of controversial, difficult conversations may be happening with those people, but in general, they're the ones that are finding issues in the system and yelling around, like against it, that are destroying it by their own expression, and they're not necessarily oppressing other people or groups over it. They're just like releasing back the energy that they put out so it actually kind of like destroys it in a way or like cycles it through or moves it around or something. I think you got the point of it. It's the people that fight the dying old and make it die, make it go away, help us transition to the new by, in my way of seeing it, to me personally, like doing the dirty work that some of us are not made for or don't have the heart for or aren't really capable of. And so Arsenal does also, from what I remember or understand, have the energy of the old, but it is kind of like in a way of anarchistic understanding, like being born of something that you don't necessarily like, and then like ripping it down, because you are understanding of it so deeply, you were bred by it, you have learned through it, you have grown through it, right? And so you understand the good and the bad parts of it, and you're very much significantly seriously um, pushing towards like a better version of that, or for some things to just completely be abolished because they aren't serving people. They aren't helping anyone. You might be an advocate of truth. You might be the first one that speaks out when you see something being done that you don't like. Your friends might find you as the protector of the group or the one that's going to tell them straight up and truthfully what's happening and what's occurring. Now, a lot of you might have a very strong, blunt way of expressing yourself that might be a bit harsh or whatever you want to call it, right? But others of you might not actually have that. So it depends on who you are, and I'm not judging it either way. We're all going towards our own mastery, and we don't need to be the way we expect or think it is nice, necessary, or right. We are our own true expressions, whatever it is. So whether you're one or the other type of it, don't take it for anything quite specific. So yeah, uh, you guys are the ones that bring balance in. Um, Collectives I'm getting is actually a little bit of reptilian, for sure. Dragons, reptilian dragons. I can't remember exactly the others, or maybe it's not specifically any of the ones I know. Maybe it's like a vague species, like in between of all of the different constellations that we have, or the different places that we know energy comes from, right? Like, but it's in between of them. There's some type of collective in between of these places that we already know about that hold this energy of breakdowns and breakthroughs, of growing out of the old, of demolishing the mold, of being the honorable delinquent, the divine delinquent, as it's coming across. And a part of these collectives has went through their own mistakes, and I think it's kind of like they have this healing quality to them of like, I don't want to be that person, or I don't want to go there, I don't want to make this mistake again. And there's like a deep understanding of how to face and deal with this type of energy of oppression, control, domination, direction, like that type of energy, right? If you've not really been like that, and you've only been of, let's say, more loving, co-creative, like whatever energy, you might actually not comprehend or understand not only how it functions and what it does and why it does it, right? Unless you are susceptible to some type of like control or abuse from this collective for a really long time. But you also might not know how to actually shift it and change it, how to actually transform it, how to actually alchemize it, because it's so foreign to you. You are opposites, right? Um, Whereas people from this pile or these collectives or whatever, you have been there, you have done that. You deeply understand the mistakes and the consequences of such actions. You might even know through past life regression or other things the big significant problems and issues that your collective has went through because of them being oppressive, waging war on other planets, on other collectives, on other beings, on other people. Like you understand how bad and fucked up it is and where it comes from and what that issue is. And as you're healing it within yourself, it's kind of like you're channeling the pain and the anger and the resentment of it towards making it better, towards abolishing it in some way, towards educating other people, towards like being the protector, the advocate, the group leader that comes to like doing the dirty work that is needed because you understand it, but in a way that paves the world, the path, the road towards a world that is going to be better for everyone and all. Not just your type of kind or collective or energy, not just like, the loving hippies or whatever you want to call them, not just the oppressors, but everyone. Like, I don't know what happened, but something happened in whatever cosmos, creation, eternity that really shook these people to the core of like, we're fucked up. We don't want to be this way no more. This is not good for all of like everything. Like, we thought this was right, but we now understand more than anyone else how much this harms everything. Like, what we love, what we value, what we hate, like everything. It just it's a destructive energy that only burns. It doesn't actually pave the way to anything. It doesn't clean the slate for anything. It doesn't make anything worthwhile or good. It doesn't help anything grow afterwards. It just destroys. And some of you might have really got affected by this. Like I am feeling a lot of like deep remorse and regret and accountability and responsibility to the point where it's like I am so sorry that I've done this in my own, experience or through like these things that happen in creation. I don't want this to be happening anymore. And this is shocking in a way because this collective isn't necessary. Like some of you are emotional, but others aren't. Like others are just like point based. Like you guys, you're kind of like business people in a way. In a way, you could say like instead of being ruled by the heart, you're more ruled by higher intellect and the brain and deep instincts like primordial energy, where it's of a deeper natural flow. But you realize that consciousness and awareness has its own prospects of importance because if you're only ruled by those things, you will harm the heart in which we grow. You will harm evolution and development on a bigger scale. You will harm the purpose of all, which, yeah, none of you really wanted to go against or do. But it was like mistakes were made, an ideology was taken on, values of fake and old came on instead of the new and improved and it got murked up, it got confused, and yeah, we legit like abused some people. We put some fucking beings in their place. Some of them needed that, some of them did not, and it was a mistake we lived through. Like now we are these people, we are this collective that will make it right in our own natural way of life. And maybe it will be messy, maybe it will be not fun, not clean, not clear, but at the end of the day we are not operating on the same heart or idea of oppression and domination. We are now working towards the idea of like, okay, break down whatever doesn't work and pave the way for the people that can grow, that can like connect and cultivate. And bring this thing that like we thought we were bringing, but we're not made for it. Like at the end of the day, like we aren't here for it. We as beings, as we've developed, as where we've been, and what we inherently are, we thought this was our purpose, but it's actually others' purpose, at least at this point of creation. Maybe you did have a chance back in the day and you chose wrong. Maybe you weren't ever cut out to do it this way, but it's kind of like you've realized, like, no, everyone has a place. Yeah, there we go. You've grown up. You've developed past these mistakes. And you've really actually touched the core of what needs to actually happen for things to progress and improve the right way. You're not being naive. You're not being um, kind of like insecure or lame or childish or just really like blunt, quick, and just not just insecure, but what it's kind of like juvenile. It feels like an energy of just like going without precursors or thinking or ideas or understanding. It's just going. And it also came a little bit out of pain. It might have been like accidentally at some point of creations or history's like trajectory, something happened that twisted this up even more so. But it didn't really excuse you guys. Like you, instead of blaming that thing that made it worse, you understood that even if it didn't happen, you would still be going the same way. So it's better that it happened because at least it was quick and it went to the crescendo instead of like it being dragged out. And then a lot of your collective also believing and understanding like this is the way to do it. This is important. This is, and it's like no, we can be a part of the energy of actual growth and development. We can actually be a part of healing and nurturing, even if we do it in our, you could say, destructive way. And it's not bad. It's just, it has a punch. It can destroy things. It can do so much. But if you orientate that power correctly, right, with wisdom and awareness and the desire of prosperity or going towards like actual ultimate evolution and development, and it's not the way that you would be segregating people or I don't know. Genetics is coming across. I will say that, or trying to perfect something like there, right? But instead, understanding that the nature and natural law of all includes everything, and otherwise the ecosystem would break down. And it's important. And you have your own part in there. Like no one's disagreeing with that. No one's disagreeing with that. I mean, yeah, you've guys like shifted and changed your whole way of how you think about collectives and reality and what it means to be who you are. There's still a lot of people that really dislike you because they see the oppression and whatever, and they need to heal that within yourself. But there's kind of like an acceptance and understanding of it of like I can't blame you for this because I think if I was in your shoes, like I would probably be the same, right? I would even maybe wage war against you, but you've decided to just be angry, speak up, and let it be what it is. And ultimately like let it go for your own better sake. And if you don't, you don't. But it kind of like it is what it is. I can't change the past now, can't I? This is really interesting because I'll be honest, I stay away from people like that are connected to some of the energies I'm feeling in this group, not because of any like personal real disagreement or reason or other thing like that. But it is just like I guess I would be in a way an opposite of this, although I do understand this whole thing, like to a deep extent. But it's kind of like illuminated me at least on how certain collectives have been labeled to be one thing or described to be one thing or disguised even to be of a certain light, right? And then you see certain people that are connected to that energy act completely different to it or whatever, or have a intent from their side that is completely different than the narrative. And now it makes sense to me why it was so confusing sometimes, like meeting people like this that have such a strong force and energy and might like come from either like darkness or a certain type of power sometimes, right? But ultimately they do say and value things that are of a greater meaning or a higher truth, right? It just explains to me like so much of this energy and the type of people I've met like this, and even some of my friends that have had issues with this. So this is interesting. Yeah. Let's get a Monster Garden card for you too, and see what happens. See what like message we're going to leave you off with. Three off the top as I'm hearing it. Damn. Yeah, you guys have cut the fucking bullshit. You've cut the separation mentality or like the distance you've had from yourself and the things that really matter to all, to everything. And you've taken accountability in the point that you didn't know what you were doing and you don't know where you were going. And you actually were not meant to lead. You were not meant to be the person that has control over everything. You were not meant to be the collective that is ruling everything. You were just not meant to be where you thought you were meant to be. You understand that you felt entitled because of this energy of power and superiority and other things, and that it isn't what you thought. Like, you aren't a bad person, energy, whatever it is, collective. You've made your own mistakes, but you still have purpose, and this is meant to be grown beyond, healed, and understood. And I feel like this whole collective is moving towards a point of evolution that is beyond their current standing or the past that they've been apart. I don't think you have quite evolved to this point of like ascending from where you've been or where you're at, but you're damn close to it compared to where you've been, and you're diligently, continuously working towards it. Which honestly, like I commend all of y'all. Like this wasn't easy. But you've used your traits that are like your strengths to the benefit of taking this the right way and changing yourself the right way. So yeah, this is reversed. I did feel like I wanted to like flip it up, but it is reversed. So reassess, rest, and rediscover. So you guys are, I think this is just like reaffirming the point that you guys are not one to get like bogged down, meditative, like kumbaya type energy. You're not one to sit in one place. You move around a lot, either in spirit or in real life or both. Um, you always have action happening. There's also always communication of some sort. Maybe you're even used to there being at least a little bit of drama at any point in your life, even if you're on vacation or resting. It's like there's something inherent about you being in this energy of almost like fire and absolution and constant like burning. And fire isn't just destructive, right? It has other properties to it too. Ultimately, like you are shining the light on this whole energy that you are deeply aware of, and you're not resting from the mission that you have put forward to you. I feel like a lot of these beings in this collective or people in this collective have decided that we will rest when it's fucking time to. We need to keep going because there's it's kind of like you want to reach a checkpoint or a milestone so you don't start reverting back because of you resting. Because once you start resting, you don't know how long you're going to be doing it for and how you're going to transform and shift and change. So it's kind of like you're trying to burn through as much energy as possible to go beyond it and to then sit in a new different energy that's kind of like gonna keep you in this hatching stage, like to transform and be rebirthed into something else beyond what we have spoken to. Yeah. This is super interesting. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing your energy. If you want to share your story or show your support, you can go down below and you know the buttons. I won't tell you which ones. You can press all of them just for guessing if you really want to. And I also have a link tree down below as well for Twitch and other things I do. So thank you so much and see you next time. Hope you have a good one. Hello, pile number three. Let's get into it. The beauty way. Yeah, this instantly feels like collectives that are either more feminine or more like emotionally based, more wizened in the point of like love and how much it matters. Venusians just came through. Palladians, something from like Syrians, but not. not everyone or a lot of that. I don't know, it's something. A little bit of like bird collective. I don't think it's exactly like avians for some reason. The other name is coming through that I can't remember. That I think that starts with a K. Um, yeah. Basically, like you are a person that's probably a little bit more feminine, a little bit more emotionally based. Maybe you have a lot of emotional intellect. In general, you find deeper meaning and understanding within the emotional principles of well-being and growth. And you pave the way to a lot of transformation and development within that energy. I don't think you like you always somehow pull through and come through to help people in heartache and in heart issues, in love and romance problems, in just emotionally like disgruntled or traumatized people. You know how to help them on a very deep level. You might have an easy way of like accessing people. You might have an easy way of connecting and communicating with them. Um, yeah, I'm sorry, I just needed to like focus on the cards there for a minute. And I was even like holding my freaking breath in, but yeah, you're a person that understands how there's forgotten power and wisdom in the heart. There's forgotten power and wisdom in the emotional body and the emotions. You understand also the shadow part of emotions or the downfall of emotions. You know that we shouldn't be just strictly led by them on automatic or believe everything that we feel or whatever. There's a wisdom beyond that within you. Your emotional body might work differently to other people. You manage and understand your emotions differently. They speak to you differently. There's a different energy when in comparison, like other people that are emotionally distraught are gonna be emotionally distraught and not know how to handle it and then make poor judgments out of that energy, maybe even thinking things are real and true when they're not. Whereas you will know how to look at your emotions, you'll know which part is the hurt part, just venting, ranting, whatever, and which part is telling you something deeper, how to decode that emotional energy or information in a way that is like substantial, that has a basis like beyond what we see on the surface of the situation or people or other things. You might be a person that feels like emotional energy everywhere. Plants, people, buildings, whatever it is. You understand emotions on such a deep level that maybe your life is made out of emotional energy, emotions. Um, there's also a deep connection to Mother Gaia, but also the process of blooming, coming into maturity in emotions or feminine energy. Maturity in feminine energy is coming across quite a bit. There's something special that you understand about either birth or cycles as well, especially when it comes to women. Um, I think you even see that within men, but it's different. So you don't really attribute it the same because like men would be going through, let's say, I don't know, childbirth differently to their like, partner. Even if they really feel it and some stuff is changing for them, like they aren't gonna go through the same, but like anything, right? Whereas you understand that everything has its own like cycles and birthing energy and that it affects everything and that there's some like surreal strong connection with the other world, but then there's something more. Like I can't even touch on that wisdom. I don't know, maybe I'm, still coming up to it. But you do. Like there's something about the process of blooming and coming to maturity that you're aware of. Yeah, maybe you guide teenagers through some stuff. Maybe you guide women through different things as well. Maybe you're a midwife. Gynecologist did come across or through. Not that these things need to apply to you. This could be a thing where you have no relation to any of this, but there's something, I don't know, something else that you can pinpoint besides those things. You have emotional wisdom. I'm sure you can do it. uh, okay, so yeah, there's just wisdom over the power and disempowerment of the patriarchy came through, like power over patriarchy, power over the concept of doing, power over masculine energy, power and wisdom over the understanding of how these two prospects work and what has really occurred from the masculine towards the feminine in terms of oppression, control, disagreement, and how it's been toxic. But then also, that's also through the point of realizing all of the toxic avenues, pain, oppression, and other things that have come through into the feminine. So this can be between your own energies, this can be counseling. Or tutoring other people within their energy. It could be that you see these two forms of energy very directly, very specifically within socialization, people, groups, life, industry. You just see so much beyond what people might believe when it comes to these energies of feminine and masculine. And it is a point of like wisdom and in a different sense. Yeah, you've also known how like misguided, misaligned masculine energy has been and how much oppression and hardship has come because of it. I think that is also why you're in such a place of it's kind of like this Queen of Swords is coming across as more like Lady Liberty or Justice or something like that, where it's kind of like you know how to disconnect from the feelings in a way of like calling it for what it is in truth, practical reality, and how the world works. Because sometimes it is obviously about emotional intelligence, and with that, like going to whatever realizations or conclusions you need, or even discussions and judgment, right? But other times, it's a case of like you need to stand in the Queen of Swords. You need to be of a cold, rational approach in mind that might seem a bit cold or even off-putting because you are spewing truth. You're saying it how it is, and you're setting the scene to be one of holistic goodness. And sometimes it involves emotions, sometimes it excludes them, and sometimes you just need to be here, because like it's already complicated enough being in this position. Like there needs to be a certain approach to be cold, calculated, truthful, and honest, and then wielding this sword of truth, really, like because things change. Like these words impact, they cut, they reassess, they reform, they show not just light, but they show shadow. There's not just joy that comes from this, there's pain and healing in that pain, and also just overall like sadness, right? Because of whatever reasons it might be. So, yeah, let's go in. I just moved my whole damn table. All right. Let's see what's up. Reversed. Okay, three off the top. And top and bottom as well. All right, so we got I choose love no matter what. When I focus on my inner light, I see the world through the lens of love, and I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. And the moment I embrace my peace within and surrender the outcome is the moment that the universe can truly get to work. I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. So this is really, it feels like it's speaking to a lot of feminine power and just I guess in a way you could say like, but it's not just that. It doesn't solely relate to it, but I feel like I need to mention like the womanly journey, whatever that might mean to different individuals, right? The womanly journey, I'm thinking of even just liberation, between the genders, right? The difference between within that and the story that isn't just on Earth, but in general, it's like there's been a repetitive loop of toxicity within different collectives, and this is like the collective that really has stood up instead of being disempowered and oppressed by it. and has learned the deeper meaning and truth of all of this, moving forward to heal this wound and issue and to bring more beings to light. That it's not just about leading with love, but it's seeking something deeper and unknown that is feared because it requires more strength and accountability than other avenues. And it's not just putting down things to like, oh, they'll get better, they'll improve. Da, 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 da. No, this is like taking it for all that it is and going with universal law and alignment and choosing to understand where love has been misguided, where love has been toxic, where love has not been the core truth of this situation. Um, yeah, you understand that if you take this pure approach, that you will not focus just on your truth and who you really are, but you will also start seeing that and portraying that and shifting that into the world and the planet. And this is a whole big process. You know that this is a really, really big alchemical experience and situation, transmutation. You understand that this is gonna bring something beyond anyone's understanding or conception at the current moment of time, or just whatever. And this is a big process because as you transform, the world transforms. As you go through these ebbs and flows, like everything else also shifts around you, and you still need to be in a position where you're looking to as above so below, as inside so is like without, or whatever you want to call it, as like the manifestation of your own internal reality and how it goes out to the outside and how that spreads over to the collective and how we're all one, and that comes into the world and the collective and all of these experiences, and that there's a missing key that you understand, and you don't judge anyone because it's like this is complicated. I'm gonna help and do what I need to because not everyone can even do this. Like I've gotten the key that touches to the depths of this, and yeah, it kind of sucks that I'm at this seat sometimes, but at the same time, like there's not many that are stepping up to the plate or capable of this. So it's better you than others at some point. And you also know and are super aware that you're not the only one. We're all kind of contributing to development and evolution, right? But there's something else here that is personal to you, and I feel like you get it, so I don't need to harp on it. But I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. Cards speaking basically about finding light and wisdom within the darkest of energies, environments, or periods of time, shifting through seasons or just in general, knowing how to illuminate the shadow or the self or the whatever it is, illuminate with wisdom and find centering and balance and just like kind of closure or deeper meaning and understanding within things that don't work, not getting scared of the limitations, boundaries, or the breakthrough of them. Yeah. Coming from the heart, understanding that peace, serenity is the true core power, being in the vibration of either love or it's kind of like it's a certain type of solidarity. It's like you know that true power comes not just from the heart, but it comes from the peace of mind and the serenity of you embracing who you truly are, how this really is, and the wisdom that you have. There's something that you learn that you can, because you learned it, it's kind of like inherently also now within you, and you can draw power from it as like a well. And you know that it changes outcomes. There's something that you just ship by a different way of feeling or vibing or thinking that you've seen you do or say one thing in your head or in your heart, and then literally 15 minutes later you cross a door, right? You go into a different room or something else happens, or you meet people and you're like, what the fuck happened? Everything's different. Nothing really actually happened. I just did this one thing and it keeps happening and you've realized like, oh, so this is the power of like your internal world having the capacity to shift or expand the external or transport you to different places and realms. Like you really kind of tap into that easily even. And that is a source of your foundational power or just in general like security and stability. There's something that connects to that is home for you. And you know that you are it's kind of like I imagine like an airplane with this. Like you have a lot of mileage, but you have so much left to go. You have so many places to visit, to go to. You have so many things to do, and you are excited for most of it. But it's kind of like once you realize this truth, it all opened up for you as like, oh my God. There's so much. Some of you understand that your life purpose and destiny isn't tied to just this life. You understand that you might not see the fruition of it or achieve it wholly this lifetime. You understand that this has to spread out. It's a time thing, it's a dimensional thing, it's whatever. And that you might be lucky enough to see the beginning of it by the time that you're really, like almost crossing over. But some of you just know, like, no, I'll see it from the other side, as other beings or people take this up from me, from what I laid the foundation on. Maybe I'm just here to make things happen or work, but I literally don't experience or see them until the next lifetime. In general, you understand that the world and life kind of crosses over between many, many different layers and places of time and lives and dimensions and worlds, like and that you even if you're going to be busy this lifetime, maybe you're not, right? But if even if you are and you have a lot of stuff to do, that it's just the beginning. There's something that you've just landed, secured, achieved, but then it's like it's just opening up a whole new world, a whole new end game, a whole new game, a whole new way of being. There's some things that you plan that didn't happen and are never going to happen. And you realize that achieving certain levels of consciousness means everything changes. Like you don't want the same things by the time that you're a different person. And you understand that when you reach these different levels of consciousness with the freedom that they provide, you are in a position where everything is a lot more heartfelt and you are figuring things out differently than you would otherwise normally. And yeah, these are this is like this is some interesting stuff. I mean, check out like what they're called, dragonflies, I think, right? Whatever. Check out these bugs, owls if you want. In general, there's some hidden messages here that I felt like I don't need to speak to, and I have no idea why. Maybe there's a different astral reading being done or happening on here as well, like because I do feel like I'm talking at the same time emotionally from my heart to the collective of this pile and letting them know something. Like I'm doing two readings at once almost. So you might be feeling weird energetical things, emotional things, maybe like astral body or energetic body like symptoms as you're watching this reading. It's not because I'm actually doing anything or I even like maybe this move has moved some energy for you, right? But I feel it's because there's a different communication that's happening at a different realm or level of this reading with all of you. And I feel very like wholesome and happy and appreciative of that for some reason. I don't know necessarily why, but it feels like a wholesome, holistic connection, and I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy these two readings. I hope you have a lot of luck and success in what you're birthing and doing. I really appreciate you and your energy. This was super damn cool. And if you want to like share your story, let me know how you either felt throughout the reading or what you've heard as how it's resonated or not. Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for your support in subscribing and liking. And if you want to see more of me, you can click on my link tree down below in the description where you will see my gaming YouTube as well my Twitch where I do live readings and other stuff. Um, yeah, thank you and see you next time. Bye bye. Hello, pile number four. Let's get right My headset died as soon as I started this pile, and I feel like there's something about that, like maybe, I don't know. I wanted to say like you've died a lot. Sorry if that's a past life like trigger thing or whatever, even this life. I'm sorry. Should have probably warned. But you might have went through a lot of transformation. Ego deaths are coming through. Psychedelic ego deaths are coming through. Be careful with that. But anyway, um, I'm just one of those that's gonna say that all the time or put a disclaimer in with it. But you're a person that has known that going forward to where it looks best or where the grass is greener or some other I don't know, bullshit is happening, or where there's success or goals or affluency or even money, that's not necessarily the best place to go to. It is not the correct place to go to for you. That it's not the way of growth, development, or progression. That it's just another way forward that might look good but not always is. You might have been a person that has basically de-escalated things from growing or happening or I don't know, occurring. You might have been a person that really, I don't know, has changed a lot of like fates of groups or industries or things or projects by just choosing you. And I also feel like a lot of people might like, I don't know, observing you, stalking you, I don't know, stuff like that, because I just saw a really weird bug just like I don't know, run into my balcony basically. It was kind of odd. And that's just how it came across. It's kind of like you have people that try and stalk you, observe you. Um, you might have people obsessing over you. You might have, I don't know, just a lot of gossip around you, and you don't even really do anything to do that. You kind of just make your own decisions to improve your own life. And sometimes you don't even like the attention you get with it, but you know it's the right thing to do. And so you just do it. Sagittarius is coming across very quite strongly. Uh, there's some type of collective in or beyond the Sagittarius constellation that this energy is kind of coming through or from the most. I don't know which that would be. Anyone that knows, you could like, I don't know, post that in the comments section if you're really into like, ETs and other collectives and galaxies and studying that. Maybe astrologically, which collective goes or comes from Sagittarius or has a lot of like Sagittarius energy in general. Right? But you guys are kind of grounded in a metaphysical way. You're grounded in the point of like you know which way to flow with, you know where to go, you know what road to take. Even if it's a shit road, even if it's learning and mistakes or other stuff, you understand its purpose. You go with it. You go towards it. Yeah, I can't get away from like that observant energy, and I personally don't necessarily like that. You might have a lot of like people astrally trying to come into your space and just observe and spy and do shit with you, and I don't know, I feel like some of you are very savvy with that, and you've learned a lot through all of that. You might be an adventurous soul that goes forward even in the face of adversaries or adversity, that the right direction to progression or whatever is considered to be actual forward is different than what everyone believes it to be. Okay, so let's get into some tarot. This is also the first pile I actually took my hoodie on for, and I'm keeping it on. So yeah, I don't know, maybe you like being cloaked or protecting your energy is important to you, or just being cozy and blanketing yourself. Spaces of solitude, solidarity, tranquility, peace is coming through a lot of like, yeah, grounded energy. Yet again, a lot of slow and steady energy, choosing the path that actually is for longevity and stability and is forward going. You've needed to make a lot of decisions that were kind of harsh or hard to go for. Some of them you didn't even like, but you knew it was the right thing. You have an inherent knowing. You said some things you didn't like or wish you didn't need to say, but you said it anyway because you knew it was important. You're an honest person that will do what is right, and you rather be honest, true and blunt and real than ever fake anything that you do. You're that way. I heard that this is upright, not reversed. So you might have a really attractive quality to you, which is maybe one of the reasons why people stalk the fuck out of you or try and like observe you as much as they can or follow you. Maybe you have a lot of followers and you're not even an influencer or anything. You're just like, oh, I'm just me. You've learned a lot about your shadow and you express your like feminine energy quite directly and prosperously, but it's kind of like you draw on it for yourself mainly, but you then understand and accept that as you take care of yourself and you really step into your own prosperity and balance, that like emanates from you, and that vibration is very alluring and even to some extent like intoxicating to some people, and it's caused you some strife in some times, but you've accepted it as your ultimate power that helps you bloom, helps you shine, helps you gain, achieve, and have what you like, and maintains you your like maintains your passionate side intact. You don't really burn out because you know how important that fire is and how to go forward with it. Heard three off the top. There we go. Yeah, you do really bring the energy of the sun, and you yourself are going to some specific destination. I don't know, it's a group or industry or um, company, but I wanted to say the other incorporated is coming through. So something incorporated, maybe corporation, but I don't feel like I don't know. It's weird. I don't know why those labels aren't meeting, because like corporation and industry and all that, like to some extent you could say that they're all the same, but spirit's telling me like no, they're not the same. Incorporated industry, not necessarily just a corporation or just some big entity or body that employs a lot of people. There's something special about where you're going and who you're going to be working with or for that is going to help you exude this energy and then improve the lives of others in a way that's maybe indirect but really prosperous and definite. Okay, two more, right? Yeah. Yeah, yet again, the conversation about you know where it's not important to go. You know that it what looks better, like the right way to do things isn't the right way to actually do things. Like, you know how people overwork and are hypercritical and workaholics and I don't know, they're just pushing and doing all the time. You are not about that life. You understand that our society isn't really functioning by a natural basis that is working for all or actual like development. You understand that a lot of it is broken into pieces of like oppression, escapism, like control, manipulation, doing, getting, like all of that energy that isn't actually good enough for the whole planet. Like you shouldn't be a go-getter just because everyone's telling you you need to earn this amount of money in a year, or like you're only successful if you work this amount of hours in a week, or whatever it is, right? You also understand that being the opposite of it in like the realms of lazy, complicit, I don't know, leeching off of other people in terms of finances or other things, or being dependent off of the generosity of society isn't necessarily also the way to go. Like, you can't be the extreme of like moving, doing, and oppressing, or just turning over and giving up. It's in between of all of it, and it's very important to find that equilibrium and balance. Yet again, the same energy I got from the main card is showing up in the top and bottom. That taking that avenue of constantly going forward and doing things and hoping to make them right without actually knowing the situation or anything, right? Just being like the fool and everything, constantly like new and like undefined, and just go do is a straight road to ten of swords, just being stabbed, impaled, and in pain, and like pissed the fuck off, full of ideas and thoughts, but not really coming from the heart of things or the maturity of things or getting things lit up and started or even like nurturing them. Like there's something that you understand how backwards society is that you are breaking apart. And there's only a few of you compared to other collectives, and how much there's mixing around and mishmash and whatever. And how, there's certain groups of collectives that incarnate, and then there's different generations of them. This feels like very circular, centralized. Like it's a group, it's a sphere, it's an aspect, it's a collective that's kind of defined and sort of the way it's coming across is like, how a collective kind of cycles through souls as they incarnate, and their numbers might grow or dwindle depending on certain situations or other things, right? Some people incarnate and then never incarnate again, and then some other people from their collective replace them or come into their shoes. This feels like this is the only aspect or agency of this collective that keeps coming, keeps doing this, and your numbers don't really change, which I've never really thought of or felt. So yeah, if I had some information, I'd expand there, but I kind of don't. I kind of don't. Kind of don't. Um, I don't know. We'll see what other messages we get, but I'm kind of feeling like we're coming to the end of the reading. And yeah, you guys are basically gonna be the ones that might have the shortest one. Yeah, you kind of come in and your life keeps going. Even if you have stagnant, recuperating, healing periods of time, it's kind of like you keep going. You keep appearing, you keep changing groups, you keep changing jobs, locations, maybe you move a lot, and you are the center of attention in a lot of places you go to. Even if they don't interact with you and you're only there for momentary periods of time, they notice you there. They freaking stare at you, they watch you, they look at you. You might be the person that, let's say, if there's a suburbs neighborhood, right? You're the house that everyone's gossiping over and everyone's super enthralled and attracted to. And sometimes you like it, but other times it's like, get over yourselves or get over this situation. Like, if you want to like talk, but like, is it really necessary to have it in a certain light, right? We, yeah, we, whatever. It's kind of like you've accepted that you are this person of attention. You're at the center of it, that you bring people together, that you really enlighten them on certain things, and that you're kind of that person that is an example to others on how to balance themselves within their own energy, whatever that is. Because it's kind of like you could use these three aspects or whatever they are, right? Yourself in your own light and way. You just need to realize, like, what is this for you? Like, what is the equivalent of this? Like, this is my equivalent that I've learned and I know and I inherently am, right? I've also done this a bunch of times. That's why it's kind of easier for me because I've just solidified within this because it's needed. It's a necessity just to be able to function or grow, live, and develop or communicate even, right? But there's also a case of like every single person has the choice to be this if they really want to and choose to learn and grow and develop towards this maturity or realization or reality or awesomeness of some sort. Like it's not you're unique or special in your own way, but it's kind of like what you do isn't isolated to you, isn't special just to you or your collective. It's kind of like we've done this, we saw this, we moved here. Now we are bringing it down to everywhere else because we need to like learn this, right? We need to teach it. And even if you're learning at a different level, there's others learning from you. Um, and so maybe you find yourself in the position of being a teacher quite often. So, yeah, universe, everything is nothing. Yeah, this is just that deeper understanding about how life creation, the world works, how people work, the equilibrium between like what we think is right, what isn't actually right, and what is right, right? And how to realize all of the different aspects of creation and yourself, and how to have it shine outwards instead of keeping you in one place. Also, this being always reminds me of a cockroach. I don't think it is a cockroach, but it always reminds me of one. And there might be some symbology with the spiritual meaning or archetype of what a cockroach is in spirituality. So Google, check it out. You do you with it. Um, a way I could take this is like you get through everything. You learn through everything. You really traverse worlds and meaning and places and energy and consciousness, and you keep refining perfection in a way that other people miss. They think they hit it, they don't. You guys hit it. Like you fucking know. Restraint. Playing with the rules. Yeah, you don't play around with doubt or rules or what you think is right. You don't get brainwashed by reality or society all that easily. Even just programming, you know where it is, what it means. Like, you know how people know what is an ad and other people kind of don't. And depending, like, I feel like there was an example in a cartoon or show, like a person going like ad, not an ad, not an ad. So for you, it's like programming that's invalid and programming that's valid. So you know, like this is not good, no, 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 and this is good, good, good. And you really like differentiate. You're kind of like a supercomputer for the universe in a way, in that way, because you segregate and split and categorize energy that flows and energy that maintains, and then the stagnant in between that doesn't work for anyone. Harmony, yeah, and you are giving harmony over all of this. You are finding ways of how to show this, embody this, teach this. Some of you are tired or and are excarnating for a little while. I don't know. You got a break somehow. You like applied for it and got the loan or something for it. Others of you are still making your way to be able to take a break because your collective has been through a lot. That's why you probably have this wisdom, but it's also like being in this position of teaching and growing isn't easy. It's very hard in some ways. It's also very joyful because, like, you know that not everyone has this power. Not everyone can even imagine or fathom or comprehend this pinnacle, but also the nuances of it, right? Everything has light and dark, light and shadow, whatever you want to call it, pros and cons. But for you, it's a case of like, yeah, you really are in it and living it, and you don't want to come out of it. This is really weird. There's this here, and I don't know, like it looks like an egg for me that's hatched. But it also looks like this guy has the eggshell on his face, which is kind of weird to me. Yeah, it's like you're the one that has hatched and evolved and grown beyond, and now you're teaching so many other beings how to find their music, how to find their muses, how to be muses as well, because it's both. It's finding your muse and being the muse. And you really kind of get it. Like you gather ethereal knowledge from all that you see and experience. You're just constantly lit up and on. So yeah, keep on being awesome. This is kind of great. This is kind of pretty cool. Um, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you know you spending time having this reading, connecting. Thank you for all of the likes and shares and comments and other things. And if you want to see more of me, you can go to the link tree down below. There might be something else with this reading. I feel like there's pain actually coming over and across, but there's not much that I can do at the moment. There's not much I can read about it. If you guys have something that's still in your energy, like in terms of emotions or ideas or pains or questions, feel free to like, tune into it, feel it, maybe express it out loud, maybe just like let it out into the ethers or the astral. And I hope that another reading can answer those questions for you as time goes on, either for me or other people, honestly. Um, I feel like maybe something opened up because of this reading for you, and so it's raising emotions and pain and other things. And there's a need or desire or want to talk more on this or where this is coming from or what this is. But I feel like it was important to do this reading so there's like, it feels like there's going to be building blocks or somewhere else that this all goes to or from. I don't know why Scorpio just came through. Maybe there's another death that's happening or needs to happen with this collective. But yeah, I don't feel like I can actually read on it or touch on it. And if anything, if it'll be that important or needed, I might just do a separate reading that is not a pick a pile that might relate to this or connect to this, and it would be called like something of a Sagittarian collective, Sagittarian like constellation reading. I don't know. So yeah. Thank you. I hope you look after yourself, and I will see you next time. Have a good one. Bye bye. Hello, pile number 5. Let's get right into it. You got the many paths card. I instantly heard Pisces come through. Maybe something with the Pisces constellation is important to you. Avians are coming through, Venusians are coming through, a little bit of Syrians as well, and Orions. So this might be just the mixed group. This might be the group where, I don't know, you might be any collective. I'm sorry. I know what the reading was supposed to tell you, but um, if you don't know if you're a part of the collectives I've just mentioned, maybe Mars even, right, might be somehow significant to you. Check into what you could learn from the Pisces constellation. Maybe there's some type of energies, collectives, or beings there that will enlighten you or whatever on where you feel the most connected, where you come from, what's up, what it is, what's up. So, yeah, I do see like you guys are kind of the more flowy people that kind of can go from one end to the other. You go through spontaneity and extremes, extremes of a spectrum. You go from red to hot. You don't really have a middle ground. You have a middle ground in the point that you can handle these extremes and find acceptance and find your own groove and centering within them. But as a person, if someone were to describe you, you would be a person of extremes. You are intense, you make things happen, you can kind of get along with a lot of people, you can be found in many different places and ways, right? You have a lot of different sides to you, a lot of different emotions, a lot of different states. You aren't really static. You don't like you are very, very, very different, very emotional, very opinionated, maybe a lot of different thoughts, maybe a lot of different emotions come through. Also many different varied experiences that don't seem like they mesh with one person. Like you would imagine that if a person had these experiences, they would be this type of person. But it's like you have these experiences, and then you have all of these experiences, and you have a bunch of different storylines and trajectories that don't really lead to the same conclusion. Instead, because they're so varied and there's so many of them, you're a certain amalgamation of it that it is your own. Like you are your own person, you're your own art piece, you're your own creation. Nothing really defines you, not where you've been, not where you come from, not what you do, not who you are. This could be the pile that speaks to certain people that don't necessarily feel connected to any particular. No, I'll take that back. I feel like you guys are connected to a particular collective and you feel home or roots coming, or just, traits of character and personality that are inherent that come from these planets, past lives, energies, places, ancestors, aliens, ETs, whatever, angels even, but that you all, regardless of where you come from, you have a common thread within or between or beyond all of these different collectives and groups. So let's say I'm talking to someone from the Pisces constellation, someone from Syrian collective vibes, someone from Orion's, and then I don't know whatever else. Like I said, right? All of you are from there and have roots there or whatever, but there's a common thread between all of you. Like kind of like all of you are black sheeps, or all of you are the flowing easy types. All of you are a unique aspect or form of your collectives. You're the one that is special, different, colorful. You don't think like all of your collective. You have something unique and different to share and show that is out of the norm. Some of it may be good, some of it might have been bad at points, but you've learned through it. You've refined whatever this uniqueness is, and you've become your own version and expression of it, even if you're doing it just right now, even if you're still figuring it out, you just started to do it, doesn't matter. You've always been this, and you've always had this connection to these other people in other places, collectives, or time that are grown from the same energy, which is fascinating. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know what it could be. Could be like trailblazers, freedom fighters, rebels of the systems you've come from, peaceful anarchists of like a hippie type or is coming through as well. The people that will speak and connect and show and share love, but will do it in a place and a sense of oddity from what is the norm or where they've come from, and wherever they go, it is very much noticeable and sensed that you are unique, you are different, you are somehow different. Um, I think you haven't found home or people to be with. You've had a lot of like hardships and difficult people, difficult reactions, difficult accusations, a lot of projection onto you, a lot of oppression of your voice and who you are, who you stand to be. Sorry for that. But you found your voice through it. You've actually become a stronger shape and a more definite version of who you truly are. Like it's brought you back to your roots and your soul. Instead of breaking you apart and making you join the opposing side or be a part of the system, right? It's broken you out of it beyond this, beyond repair. It's beyond this repair, and you are evolving beyond the limits of your collective. You might actually take a very significant or strong spiritual position within certain lives or upcoming life. It kind of feels like this is directed towards an upcoming life where you're meant to be a leader that will be that spokesperson, that will be that priestess, that will be that king or emperor or queen or empress, right? That you will be that leading figure that shows the way and is wizened. You're the oracle, the sage of the collective, or another reason you've felt oppression is because some people really don't want to see you shine. They don't really want to see you succeed because the inherent like power of you has really thwarted their plans or their idea of who they are and how superior they are or where they go or whatever the fucking deal is. They're like X is whatever because I can't get my way because of them because they don't even try and they get the same fucking results, or they can't accept the point that you actually come from a aligned, loving, wholesome, heartful place, whereas they come from a oppression, manipulation, and control place. Even if they're doing it with the intentions of love or whatever it is, it's like the way they do it is outdated and not good. No one needs this. It doesn't help anyone. And because you will actually be the person at the seat of the throne or the person at the leading end, and you've been the black sheep in all of this, it's like we can see it even on this planet, right? The natural reaction and course of action is to oppress, repress, and try and put those people down by other parties, right? To try and, I don't know, keep them in a certain position or to not have them reach a certain position. So you have had people, soul mates, even soul family, that has oppressed you and made you out to be the problem, the evil, the issue, the non-trustworthy type, the one that's actually sabotaging everything and causing issues and trying to control or oppress because, like, maybe, they could play up on how intense you were feeling or how you were going through really difficult times, or maybe they made your mistakes even worse than they actually were, right? And I keep hearing a lot of shit this fucking reading. I keep thinking someone's in my damn house. I don't think anyone's in my house, but it's just very unnerving because like I can hear neighbors, but I actually hear it behind the door, and I'm kind of quite close to the fucking door. And I keep hearing like someone's in my damn house. This isn't like new to me. This is kind of sometimes common, sometimes not as much. But you might have experiences that are very surreal with spirit and guides and certain beings. You might actually live in a very paranormally, supernaturally charged place, and it doesn't need to be haunted or ghosts. It can be there's a lot of portals where you're at. Maybe there's a lot of secret, sacred spaces and knowledge in your house. Maybe you're a gatekeeper. Maybe you have one of the most transcendental meditating experiences ever. Maybe it's more practical. Maybe you draw sacred geometry and blueprints of some sort. Maybe you calculate certain things that aren't believed by science, but are quantifiable, important data. For whatever reason, right? Maybe you'll rip it up at some point, but you need it to do it at that point. So spirit and your guides and whoever else is connected to you could make use of that knowledge, could evolve certain systems, and could like really make use of them. But yeah, a lot of you are people that are working towards your direct line of evolution ascension and getting to your throne or point of authority of some sort, even if it's not that official. But I feel like for most of you it is official. You will be in charge of a collective at some point. Not this life, not the next one maybe, but like at some point you are at the development stages of maturing as some very strong energy that's basically a leader. So, yeah. And some energies really want to communicate to you, keep your boundaries up. Someone really wants to come in, control the situation, the narrative, make you get in your head, believe their bullshit, affect and attract to you in more, but less than wholesome ways. To have you as a, my God, I just heard a huge knock in my fucking goddamn house. Ugh. Anyway, you literally might have people trying to get you as batteries to control you, to manipulate you, or to have your position that you're actually naturally evolving to, but they want to tamper with or influence. So don't let these energies in. Don't trust them being nice. If they've done it before, they'll do it again. Just like literally take it from me in spirit. Don't fucking go there. Let them stew in their shit. Some of these are people you've known this life. Some of them are past life acquaintances. Some of them are ex-guides. Some of them are maybe, I don't know, I feel like teachers are guides or leaders in your spiritual team. So let's say, I don't know, you felt like you had a real special teacher in your guide team or some energy you were learning from. Maybe it was even like a deity, right? Like Hindu god, Greek god, something else like that, but you realize they're in the wrong and they're super fucking oppressive over it. Don't trust them. Don't think they've changed. They have done this for longer than you think they have. This is not a special life where you're learning just this momentary lesson. Some of you said, like, yeah, I know, but others of you, you can't, it's kind of like you can't realize the point that this is how some people beings are. Like, this is some. long-term shit, and they were trying to be a part of your team to undermine you, and you've really loved them and trusted them, and you can see their love and light, but like if you can see that, they will show it to you at all times, always, and make it about that while acting out of completely different energies, right? Masking is one, but being inherently of love or good or prosperous energy or something conclusive, like something good, is completely different. So they're operating from a core that's not what they're showing at the face or how they come in to communicate at you or talk to you or whatever. If you had any beings in your home or place recently, cleanse everything. Check in it. Where did they put bugs in? Where did they put in dense energy? Where did they leave any trash? Did they temper with your astral space? And if you start feeling heavy or pain or other things, or like you want to stare at something specifically in your house or something that's not even there, right? That's your sign that someone put something without you approving it or wanting it or needing it or something that isn't good for you. It's now in place, right? And you can remove it. They have no power over you. They have no power. And I shuffled the deck, but I really didn't need to shuffle the deck. And from what I saw, this is the top. So yeah, yeah, literally what we were talking about people trying to get one over you. Not letting you advance, go forward, or where you gotta do, figure it out, like trying to hold you back. Literally what we were just talking about. Yeah, keep on being strong and tuned into the higher realm stuff, into what you are, who you truly are, what you're made of. Like, don't get hung up about the past plans that you aren't gonna make real at all anymore. Like, they were there as a placeholder for something greater. You were never meant to do those things. I swear someone it feels like someone is running in my damn house in circles. Anyway, really distracting. I'll try not to talk about it anymore. I think speaking of it 3 times is good enough and enough. Um, yeah. So all the plans that you tried doing that didn't work out, let them go. They weren't meant to be. They were just like steps along the way, placeholders, other things. The happiness that you didn't achieve with what you thought you wanted or desired, or what was there as an option and a choice, and you saw it and you're like, I want that to happen, but it didn't happen. Don't get hung up on it. Keep going. I think you guys are in a bit of a crunch time, stressful, tense period where you're being rebirthed and coming out another end of like a lot of turmoil and issues and difficulties. And you are like the newborn, I want to say babies, but like of holy. I don't know why. Babies of holy, let's say, whatever, that are actually gonna be adults of stature, like of an ability of some sort. You're gonna be in a position where you really make things come together. And I've never noticed that she has this thing where it's like leaves with berries, or is it roses? It looks like it would be berries to me, but maybe it's roses. Yeah, see the leaf with the red things? I think like it's berries. So you are quite sustainable, self-sustainable. You are quite self-sufficient. You are very abundant. You're very prosperous. You're very, I wanted to say fertile, but also it's not just that. It's kind of like you have this power of a super bombastic, attractive woman. Even if you're a man, it would translate to the point of like you you are powerful in the point that it seems like you can create anything. You can give life to anything. You can sustain yourself in the harshest of situations and not just grow or get through it or whatever. You will prosper. You will develop in such superb ways that others would be like, how did you manage to do that? It's physically impossible or whatever. It's impossible in some ways. And you still created it. You still did it. There's something inherent about your power, and it's very pure. It's very divinely ordained. and it is kind of connected to some divine idea or plan of rolling out some new light codes, ideas, energies, vibes, experiences, and like a lot of you, if not all or most of you, are meant to be at the forefront of leading this, of being at the tables of discussion, the ones that actually like bring it through, manage it, talk about it, and make the ideas come real, come to life. Um, and you are going to have some dissonance from external forces or people who are losing their shit because you're in this energy and they're, down in the dumps. They have no way to connect to you, to relate to this, to be a part of this. And it's okay that you are the way you are. Fuck the standards, fuck the ideas, fuck the fucking whatever the fuck it is that makes you be isolated in a world of despair. None of it really matters. It's not your purpose or point. You are here to wear a crown. You are here to work towards the eternity and infinity of the prosperity for all, the way of life and the way of being that is even more evolved, that is even more prosperous, that is even more of equal value, upholding equilibrium and like the scales of justice. You are here to bring that in because it was never ever possible for it to be achieved to this level that all of you are co-creating or making it up to be. This collective is kind of like the spiritual kings, queens, emperors, empresses, but also CEOs, the ones that are going to be in charge of things because not only that you go through all of it, every single thing that you could fucking imagine, you went through realizing these issues yourself instead of getting the position and then calling the shots and saying this is right just because you didn't like who else was calling the shots or being in charge or how the system worked or like, oh, I see this issue, right, or these issues, I want to fix them, but you stopped and you're like, I don't get them. I need to feel this. I need to get into this. I need to understand and realize not only my truth, right, of pain, oppression, or other issues. I need to realize everyone's issue, everyone's problems. How is reality? I don't want to say it in that way. How is reality still in development or developing towards a, I swear. Anyway, um, towards like this new level of creation, life, living, evolution, being. Like, how do we get there? What does it really mean? How does it work? How does it not work? It's weird. I think I'm hearing astral stuff now. I think like the bangs and the other things were in real life, but I think I literally heard yelling and then some type of conversation or discussing in the astral. I don't know what it was. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. Um, but yeah, you guys are gonna get there and you're doing it and yeah, this is an interesting pile. I guess let's just get you the last cards of the read and leave it off there because I ain't getting nothing else. Besides, things are changing. Things are changing and ending. Ha 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 ha! Those bitches couldn't keep you away from this success, from this expression, from being this sunlight, from being this example to all on how to bloom, how to have your shadow intact, how to build bridges, how to fucking break them down if you need to, and how to create empires that serve all, that actually go towards the direction we all are going to be proud of. Even if you look back in history and you're like, well, that sucked, you'll still appreciate it more than be like, you know how sometimes people like looking back in history and saying that whoever before us was dumb or uncivilized or uneducated or unevolved or savage and animalistic, and it's like a lot of the times they might have not been. Like a lot of the times they were actually maybe even ahead of their time. They had different skills. They had different things. They were kind of pretty, maybe even like us, right? But they weren't they didn't have the technology. The world didn't work in that way. Energy wasn't the same way. Nothing was the same way, but they still judge it as if like it's you could judge it by the same ideas and parameters. We can like analyze and dissect our own issues, problems, and world currently right now, right? It's kind of like easier to judge the past than accept the present and go to the future, or to see what it was really that happened in the past and what it meant and how you could label it without putting it down into something that maybe it wasn't even like that, right? So yeah, yeah. You guys are breaking through and really creating this change and evolution and revolution, one for all type of vibe for all of creation. This makes sense to me now why all of you are from different collectives. It's because you are those people in many of these different collectives. You're all from different places of home, you're different ages and soul, you're different like ethnicities in creation and in the all in everything that has ever been. That's why this isn't one group. This isn't one collective. This is the leaders of tomorrow that are learning today that are in all of these collectives. They're kind of like hidden in nooks and crannies. You're very protected. You're very guarded over. A lot of you have a direct phone line to God, literally. And you can test it with prayer if you don't believe me. And I don't mean the gods or whatever. I mean the ultimate creator God. So, yeah, what's referenced in like most of the religions, I guess, except for where there's a lot of gods, right? Anyway, or I don't know, fake gods or alien gods, but like I'm talking about the creator. So, yeah. You guys are a part of this revolution that's happening energetically, and you're currently at the stage of releasing a bunch of it, and you're the example that is making the unseen seen, and then basically initiating like it being set free or let go of or moving in certain directions. Um, so things might look a bit black and white. As I said, you guys are in a difficult position at the current moment in time. You're like getting out of your old skin, you're stepping up to the plate, you're being moved over to a different experience, or you're moved going to be moved over to a more peaceful and serene experience so you can make the pieces come together and realize them. If you aren't going to be jumping into something significant and important this lifetime, which that doesn't mean anything, don't judge yourself over it. But if that's the case, you are then having like half and half of like the later part of your lives is gonna be more of reflection, chill, and recuperation, and looking to these deeper understandings or knowledges, or like coming into a place of healing so you can reincarnate into a more active lifetime where you actually get stuff happening, and others of you are just about to step into it. Either way, everyone's kind of experiencing this like shedding, realization of like what has been bullshit, letting it go, saying I don't deserve this, like yada yada. And yeah, don't forget to enjoy yourself and play. Even though there's not a lot of option for play sometimes when you're in this energy, like this very regal, serious type of energy where you are more deep and analytical, but there's joy within that. You can take it up as a serious thing, or you can take it up as an inherent thing of you and who you were born to be, and that your joy somehow ultimately lies with this energy anyway. Like as a truth seeker, as a person that desires truth, as a fire blazer, as a one that goes forward, as there's responsibilities and things that hold you back, there's also things that push you forward. There's things that bring you to a position of actual joy and like power of play and release and acceptance and kind of like flowing with that the energy of who you are, what this is for you, like how life goes. Definitely there's somewhere deep within you that is loving of this or can be loving of this. Maybe it was gone, maybe it's transforming, maybe it was swooshed. I don't know, but you know, take the time you need to chill out and see and connect to the weirdness of all of it, to the details. and know that you will pick up and go on when the time is right. But I guess the point of transformation isn't quite here yet, and spirit is out there for you to help with this, to make you feel comfortable, to give you blessings. But you are the ultimate creator. This group, things don't really happen unless you make them happen, because you're at the seat of power, so everything needs to trickle out from you. So you need to be quite specific, direct, stable, grounded, trusting, very self-assured, and self-empowered, and knowing that that's just the way it has to go. Like your guides can only guide you from you, and most of us that's the same thing, but it's more like guides even learn from you sometimes. Like everything needs to have a command or a communication from you. And I don't mean command as in control, but more like as a manifester or a magician or whatever it is, high priestess or other things, right? You are the one that, or hierophant, you're the one that's bringing the reality forward with this. And I guess distance is the card that will look like the Hierophant to me in some ways, but it's not definite, but I just felt like saying that. So, yeah, rest, recuperate, regenerate where you are currently. Let it go, let it be. I feel like this reading is going to activate a lot of downloads, light codes, and reevaluations at the level of the soul, or like integration into consciousness, like into your actual 3D experience of like what this means, where it's come from, what your life has been around, like a lot of it. Your guides might start talking to you directly about a bunch of this, and yeah, let it be, go through it, and accept that you're the one calling the shots in your life, and you can have it however you want as long as you just stay determined, do it, and believe in yourself and know that it's all alright, right? Like this is a place of you or for you, and something of God is coming through as well. Um, maybe I don't know, you're a plan of God, something like that. We're all like I feel like this might go a bunch of different ways if I don't end the reading right now, but the starting point is underneath this card, which is just proving or reaffirming the whole thing of like you guys are still in the reflective sitting period. Maybe you're in between of death and rebirth, right? About to start something new, but it's not quite yet. So there's illumination that needs to happen of the unknown, and also of the known. There's something being refined, let go of. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for getting this reading. This was quite awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing your energy and sharing your time. If you want to see more of me, you can go down below to the link tree in the description box. And if you don't want to do that, you can also just click the buttons of like, subscribe, or comment, or sharing, or something. I don't know, do whatever. Don't do any of those if you want to. I'm not the boss of you. I know I'm not. But yeah, I'm gonna call it here and wish you a beautiful day of whatever it is. Um, and yeah, let there be success, love, and light. Bye, guys.